All right, a little hypothetical for you. You're at a baseball game and you get knocked out by a foul ball. Is the ballpark liable?
That's a good question, and we obviously are looking for answers. And we turn to Marco Bocciarelli, a partner with the Friedman, Domiano, and Smith law firm, is here to answer that question and so many more. Marco, thanks so much for sitting down with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
You know, as Alexa said, it's so unfortunate. We've heard so many stories time and time again about perhaps, someone getting hit by a hockey puck that was attending a hockey game, or a fan, a spectator at Progressive Field. Unfortunately, it's happened in our backyard where they're hit by a foul ball. And so what can we do? Is there anything that we can do if you are injured at a sporting event like that?
Well, that's a great question. And at Friedman, Domiano, and Smith, we're always looking for ways to help protect people who are injured in Ohio. At a sporting event, the general rule is that if you're hit by a piece of equipment or a ball that comes off the field during the game, that you're assuming that risk of responsibility. In fact, if you look at your ticket and you read the back of it, which I'm sure everyone does, right?
No.
I was going to say, because when you accept all those terms and conditions.
Right, yeah, you take this ticket, and what you don't know is at the back of this, there's basically an entire contract.
Wow, yeah, I mean, it is in small print.
It's almost unreadable.
But what you're saying is that there is some...
What it says there, essentially, is that by taking that ticket and accepting the ticket and the seat, that you're accepting responsibility for going to the game and what may happen during the game. But the important thing to know is that there are exceptions, and that's what I think we really need to talk about is don't just assume that if you're injured at a sporting event or at a Coliseum event, that you're responsible for what happens. You need to look at some of these exceptions to find out if they apply to you.
Okay, well, now is there, what about people involved at the event? Could their actions be an exception?
Potentially. So let's talk about what that exception is first, okay? Recent Ohio court opinions have talked about what is inherent to the event that you're attending, okay? So we're talking about what's at the heart of the event. And it all depends on who is participating and what they're doing. So for instance, you were asking me about the participants themselves.
Right.
If a fight between participants goes into the stadium, if someone throws a ball or a piece of equipment into the stands out of frustration and not just while a game is going on, I would argue that that is not at the heart of the event that you're there to see. It's not in those 4 quarters or those 9 innings.
So it's not like a foul ball.
Exactly,
That makes sense.
exactly. Something outside of that generally has a tendency to fall into what is not at the heart of your event.
And so that's where there may be an exception to the rule, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. And then, as Alexa was saying before, so, if there are injuries that happen as a part of the game, is that the only exception where if it is outside of the actual game itself?
Well, generally speaking, that's where the most exceptions happen, all right? But what we're finding is that these exceptions are expanding as these stadiums, coliseums, or wherever you're attending these events are trying to do more and more things that they're not necessarily equipped to do, or maybe not as well equipped to do. Fireworks is one example. All of these sporting events have fireworks that go off to celebrate any given thing. I would argue that that's not within the event, that's not the heart of the event that you're there to see, correct? Same thing with all these activities that happen in between events, or in between innings or quarters or halftime or whatever it is. If you're a spectator to that event and somehow get injured, that's not really at the heart of what you're there to witness. So I would argue that those are exceptions to...
I remember, unfortunately, at Progressive Field, there was just like a fight that actually broke out at one point in one of the higher tier sections. And I guess if you were a spectator and you were injured by someone falling on top of you, maybe you might have some sort of ground. And that's where we want to get in touch with you at.
You know what? That's exactly what I wanted to communicate is don't assume on your own that you're assuming that risk of injury, right? At least take the time, call us at Friedman, Domiano, and Smith. We always give you a free evaluation of your case, and we never charge anyone unless we're able to make a recovery for it.
See, that's so nice that you can at least call and you're not going to get charged, for it.
Yeah, and speaking about the number, it's 216-2 621-0070 for more information. That's the best way to dial in and speak with one of their legal experts on the rights that you have as, you know, a spectator in one of those sports. You can also dial in online. That is fdslaw.com. Again, fdslaw.com for more information there. Marco, I really appreciate you sitting down with us and just kind of helping us navigate the waters, because that can be real tricky. But knowing
and
that
we're
we have an
Cleveland
expert,
sports fans. We got to go to our games.
Amen.
Oh yeah, I wish the baseball part of this was more timely, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
very
Yes,
true.
so.
But thank you so much. Really
you.
my
appreciate it.
pleasure. Thank you.
All right, well, still ahead. We're going green.
Yeah, we are. Up next, the car coach, right after this.
This segment of Live on Lakeside was furnished by Friedman, Domiano, and Smith.